Hey, what's up everybody? Mr. B here with Montezuma Martial Arts Academy out of Dolores, Colorado. So today we're going to be going over the blocks we need to move from our white to our yellow belt in our system. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right in. We're going to start out of our right guard stance. Our very first block is our inward block. Well, now when we do our inward block, we raise up slightly outside our shoulder and bring that arm across. You should be looking through the window right here that your arm and your shoulder make. That way you're making it all the way across the center line. What happens to a lot of us when we do our inward block is we like to stop right in front of our face, and we're not doing enough to move that arm or meet the challenge of the punch that is coming towards us. So make sure that that inward block comes all the way across your face. So just a couple of times, in, very good. And then we have our outward block. So our outward block is going to start slightly to the inside and then move out. Now remember, inside motions are just, we describe them as any motion moving towards our center. Outside motions are described as any motion moving away from our center. So when we go out, boom, same thing. A lot of people like to stop right at their shoulder, kind of right in front of your face. I want you to carry just a little bit outside of your shoulder to meet the challenge of that punch. Once again, so out, out, out. Then we have our rising block or our upward block. You'll hear me call it just up for short. Okay, when we do our upward block, okay, boom, right here. Now, the big mistake that everybody likes to make is they like to make it a 90 on that elbow. What I want you to go ahead and do is I want you to go ahead and give me a little bit of an angle. You want to think like a roof on a house carrying a snow load. If your arm is like this, you're carrying all the weight of that strike coming down on top of you, which is also multiplied by gravity. So what we want to do is we want to give that a little bit of an angle to give that power somewhere to go as we block up. So the other thing that I like us to do is my knuckles will be facing my opponent, and then I want to rotate my arm and my elbow into position just like so, giving me a little bit of torque. That torque is going to give me a little extra power, and also as I meet the challenge of that strike coming down on top of me, it's going to give, like I said, give that punch someplace to go and a little bit of encouragement as I meet there. All right, so that's our upward block. Then we have our downward block. Our downward block is going to come down, and again, just outside of your hip. An effective block needs to be slightly outside of your hips, okay, and your shoulders in order to be effective. If you're even with your hips, if you're even with your shoulders, okay, that is when you're gonna have a block but still end up getting hit. Nobody likes that. So again, the other thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna torque my knuckles into place. My knuckles are gonna start facing, boom, and then I'm gonna go ahead and almost like, think about it as a strike. A good hard block, boom, should be something that strikes the other opponent's attack. So I'm here, bam, bam, just outside my hip, making sure that I'm not getting struck. The other thing that I want you guys to make sure is when you go outside, don't go too far and don't go too far back like you're waving away a smelly fart, okay? You want to keep the block in between you and your opponent, okay, while simultaneously just outside of that shoulder. So the 4 basic blocks, in, out, up, and then down. When we put all 4 of those blocks together, that is what we call the star block. That is the final thing that you need to get your yellow belt. So in, out, up, down, which I find to be a much better way to practice our blocks rather than just going in, which gets kind of boring. Okay, so in, out, up, and then down, what we call the star block. So just a couple of things to remember when you're doing your inward block. Look through the window. Outward block and downward block, make sure that you're going just outside of the shoulder. And then finally on your upward block, make sure that you have a little bit of angle to that arm and you're torquing your arm into position. Anyway guys, until next time, train hard, fight fast, score first. Asai.